Hello, hackers, and welcome. I'm Quinn. If we haven't met before, we're going to be doing a really awesome workshop today. It's going to be an introduction to Google's AI Studio. This is an amazing tool that can form part of your developer workflow and allow you to build and experiment even faster. I'm super excited. I love using this myself, and I hope you are all too. I think this is a really great way to get your project started off for Open Source Hackfest. And if you're kind of doing things with Hacktoberfest as well, this is great. This is very good. So get ready, because this is going to be amazing, and I'm sure you're going to love it as much as I do. Now, we're going to get started in maybe a minute or so. I'm aware that I put the announcement out only 3 minutes ago in the Discord, so I'm going to let folks kind of join up. Yeah, in the meantime, let me know down in the comments, have you heard of Google AI Studio before? Have you used it before? Tell me about your experience of it. I can feel also a sneeze brewing, so apologies if I stop mid-flow at some point. You know what it's like when it's just nearly there. Anyway, such is the way of things. Yeah, so like I said, we'll get started in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to put on some background music, so we're all in the focused vibe. There we go, not too loud. Let me know if you can't hear me, but hopefully you can. I'm super excited to see hackers joining. Welcome. Great to see you again too. I hope many of you went along to the Copilot workshop earlier today as well. I really enjoyed running that, and I think it's another tool which forms a really great part of your workflow. So together, with all of these tools, you're going to be an unstoppable developer. Unstoppable. All right. Hello, welcome. Hey. As you're joining, please do let me know how you're finding the hackathon so far. Tell me if you've got anything you're particularly excited for, project ideas, where you're tuning in from. I love to hear how it's all going, and yeah, what's up with you at the moment. So let me know. All right, I think we've given it a couple of minutes. We'll get started just now. By the way, if I'm looking down at all, I've got the comments in front of me, and of course, a beautiful slideshow up in front of me. And don't worry, we're going to be spending maybe a minute or two in the slides, and then we'll get right onto building and experimenting directly. Great. Colorado, that's awesome. Nigeria, super cool. Wow, I love seeing people join from all over the world. It's really exciting. Okay. So today we're going to be learning all about, like I said, Google AI Studio. And this is a great way to hit the ground running with an amazing foundation for your project. Okay, the first thing that I'd love you all to do is please do scan this code and you can check in. If you've already checked in, don't worry. We're going to be having a raffle. I think we've got some really awesome Google swag for you. I think it's maybe... I'm not 100% sure. It might be Google bags. I don't want to get your hopes up, but I think it's some really cool swag. So this is going to be a raffle, and you can enter this raffle by scanning the code and checking in. If you scan the code, we also send you instructions for our workshop demos. And so this is a great way if you want to kind of go over something, or maybe I did it too fast, or you just wanted to read a bit more, you can do so. So check in. We've got the link down here, but you can also scan the QR code. It points to the same thing. Welcome back. And from India, that's so cool. I guess it must be quite late in India now. What time must it be? Like midnight, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm not great on time zones. But welcome back. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to leave this up for just a second. I'll take a quick hydration break. Remember to keep hydrated when you're hacking. Have snacks as well. And of course, come to mini events like these. It helps break up the coding, give your brain a bit of a break, and then you can get right back onto your projects with even more vigor. Awesome. Okay, right, I'm going to keep going. If you want this link, it is in the Discord, and also it's somewhere further up in the chat. Let me just, yeah, there we go. So if you're in Twitch or YouTube, it's in both chats. So you can check that out there for yourself. Okay, great. So, as a little bit of an introduction, if we haven't met, I'm Quinn. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. I've got some different fun facts, the ones in my earlier mini event, if you enter that. In particular, I organized my first hackathon in 2022, so it's nearly this is the fourth year of hackathon organizing that I've been involved with, which is super exciting. I love running hackathons. It's one of my favorite things. And since then, I've been to 22 hackathons, almost exclusively as a coach, or occasionally a volunteer or a judge. But yeah, I've really loved going to hackathons, and maybe I'll see you around at some this season. But that's a little bit about me. So let's talk about AI. We kind of all, hopefully, and well, not even hopefully, I'm willing to bet that everyone here knows that AI is becoming super, super important. It's kind of blowing up in every area of our lives, whether that's in the apps that you use or even in the code that you write. Okay, and this is maybe familiar to you, and so we're going to talk about this a little bit more. But we can use AI to build amazing projects, and using it in our development workflow is an essential skill. In particular, software creation has changed. So we're not entering industry as individual contributors anymore, right? We're not an individual software engineer or individual data scientist. We are a manager in some ways of the agents and the tools which we have in our kit. Okay, this is part of our responsibility and part of our workflow now. And committing to this change is like a really competitive advantage for you. And so learning how to use AI is essential. But it can be a little bit hard to learn. It's a little bit taboo maybe in some areas of your life. It changes very quickly as well. I don't know if any of you are interested in AI research, but if you read the papers, there is literally almost one a day, and the technology is changing daily. It's phenomenal. So keeping up can be pretty hard, but MLH hackathons are the place to learn. They're a safe place to experiment in particular. Everyone is here to learn, and so experimentation is at the heart of what hackathons are for. Yeah, if your professors, for example, are speaking about AI, you're exceptionally lucky. This is very unusual. So having space at an MLH hackathon to learn and talk about this kind of thing is amazing, and I really recommend you kind of grab this opportunity with both hands. Now, let's talk about AI Studio. Does anyone know the difference between AI Studio and the Gemini app? So it's a question for the audience. Thanks for throwing the link down there. For anyone who missed it, you can find it here also in the Discord and in various other places scattered around. So hopefully nice and easy to find. But yeah, let me know. Does anyone know the difference between AI Studio and the Gemini app? We've got someone saying no, they don't know the difference. Someone saying, oh, there isn't much of a difference, or maybe you don't know much. That's okay. AI Studio offers usage through the API. This is true. This is true. Very good. Any other thoughts? Okay, one is for APIs and keys, and one is for AI Assistant. Yeah, all of these things are true. AI Studio is like a, yep, a GUI playground. The Gemini app is like a chatbot. Yeah, I like this. I like this. Nice to see you in the chat, Ryan. We've got natural language as a prompt. Yep, that's true for both of them. You can use natural language as a prompt in both. Studio integrates with Google Cloud Platform. This is also true. Really nice spot. Yes, so I think most of you are kind of like getting there, but there's some bits which maybe are going to surprise you, and I'm super excited to show these to you. So let's not stay on the slides for too long. We'll just quickly say what we think it is and like have a little bit of an overview, and then we'll get straight into using it. So Google AI Studio is a playground, basically. You can get free usage, and in particular, you can use beta features, which is specifically for creators, for developers like us. Okay, and so more than just a chat interface, as someone pointed out, it is a bit like a playground. Yeah, and yes, we can use natural language as prompts, but we can also vary a lot of different features, like it says here. We have a lot of options to play with, and it does also, as some of you have pointed out, very correctly allow us access to API keys. All right, okay, yeah. All of this is basically to say that the Google AI Studio is a very powerful hub, and you should absolutely be using it as a developer in your development process. Okay, so as a little overview of what we're going to be doing, we're going to try and show you as much as we can in the next, however long we've got, half an hour, probably a little bit longer than half an hour, depending on yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we get up to. We'll see what we get up to. But I want to show you as much as possible. I'm super excited for this. So in particular, we're going to start off with grabbing an API key and showing what we can do with that super quickly in your coding environment of choice. And then we'll talk about what rounding with Google searches. We're going to leverage that to show some really powerful results. And then we're going to talk about rounding with URL context, which is a little different, but also super useful. And then we're going to be using the really powerful build feature, and we will deploy a raffle app. We're actually we might build a raffle app. We might build something else. I'm open to suggestions, so maybe you can think about this. We'll do this at the end. So we've got suggestions. But we can build, yeah, we've got loads of options. So give me your thoughts in the chat. I would love to hear that. Okay, great. So I think with that, let's tab out of this. We don't need it anymore. So the thing that I want to point out is if you have checked in and headed along to here, you will have a helpful little link down here. So do check in. You also get sent in your email the resources, much more resources for this workshop, but this is the little link that we want here. And this, if we click it, will open up AI Studio. Okay, and you can see I'm already logged in. You might have to log in yourself. If you haven't checked in yet, check in, but you can also access this with mlh.link/AI Studio. If I click enter on that, it's going to open this up for us. And I'm going to pop that just up on the screen for you all. Let me make a banner. Great. So this is let me edit this so it's a little bit more out of the way. There we go, that's what I want. Okay, perfect. So if you are trying to find what I've got up here, do not worry, it's just at the link on the screen for you right now. Now this is the Google AI Studio. Have a little tour about it maybe. We've got some models up here. This is maybe interesting to us. We've got some interesting options over here. We've got a dashboard, wonder what that is. And we've got a little space here to put some prompts in, some natural language prompts, as someone pointed out earlier. Looks like there's some setting stuff going on here. Oh, lots of interesting options. And we're going to have a play with all of these. So I hope you are as excited as I am. Now, I'm going to kind of keep going through things. And I'm going to encourage you all to put questions down in the chat, and I will come to them as I can. Maybe I'll leave some to the end, depending on how nicely they fit into what we're working through. It might be that I answer your question as we go through the workshop. Yeah, I hope you're all sitting comfortably. I'm super excited to get started. Now, in particular, the first thing that I want to show you is how to get an API key. And I want to show you this just so we can demonstrate actually we can also work in our local code environment. We don't have to do things up in the AI Studio. We can use the AI Studio really easily to switch to our environment, okay? And you can do this in a few ways. One thing to note is make sure that you're logged in. I'm logged in with a student pro account. You can get, I think, a year of student access to Pro for free. If you are on a workspace account, you probably have to be on a personal account. But I do believe that this will work on all personal accounts, so you don't need to have student status as far as I know. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go along to dashboard. And in here, we can see usage and billing and a bunch of other useful bits and pieces. But we can also see projects, okay? You can see I've got a project here, and we can see how many keys we have in this project. And also we can go to the API key specifically and sort of split all of our keys out for us, okay? And let's make a new API key. Probably if you haven't used this before, you don't have one yet. So let's make one. If we go up to create API key up in the top, we can click that and we can name a key. And we also have to choose a project for it to be attached to belong to. And I've already got one called MLH Workshops. But let's say you don't have one. So we're going to create a project. Any suggestions for what our project's going to be? I'm not seeing any ideas for what we're going to build later as an app. So maybe I'll be boring, just call this workshop. But keep thinking about what we could do later. Okay, and it's going to create a new project for us. Excellent. And now we can select that. Great. And we'll name our key, and maybe we'll call this we'll call it Gemini demo, maybe, because we're going to show locally how we can use Gemini from the AI Studio. Okay, so we'll click Create Key. Quiz app. Okay, this is a good option. Keep the options flowing. Keep the options flowing. Okay, so if you have made a project before, you don't need to make a new one, but we've made a new one here. And so you can see the end of our key here. I'm not going to expose it right now, but I can copy it super easily. And let's say you did accidentally leak your API key, or even, maybe you were streaming like me and you put it up on screen as a demonstration. We can actually delete keys. So I'm going to just delete this one, and it's going to stop anything attached to that key from working. And I'll do the same for this one, actually. We can delete that one too. Okay, so we've just got this brand new API key for us here. Great. So most of the demos that we're going to be doing are going to be in the AI Studio, but I do want to show you how easy it is to take a prompt from AI Studio directly into VS Code or whatever environment that you like. So let's get set up here. We're going to store this key just while I have it on my clipboard in a .env, and we're going to call it Gemini API key. And then we're going to hit equals, and we type in our key here, and it will look something like this, probably with some capitals and some numbers and stuff. Okay, and you're going to just paste it in. Now, I'm not going to do that live with my API key. It's important to keep your API key secure. So I'm going to very quickly, scroll down. I'm going to very quickly remove that, and I'm going to paste in my API key. And you can imagine that it's already in, and perfect. Now I'm going to throw my screen back up, and you can see that I've closed out of it, but you can trust that the API key is in there. And now, well, how do we get started? Well, let's use the quick start guide. Where can we find that? Well, up here, just to the top right, we can see API quick start. And I'm going to click on that, and let's see what we've got. Well, we've got some options to install the Google Gemini SDK, and we can do that in a bunch of different languages. We've got Python, this is what I'm going to be using, but if you preferred, you could use JavaScript or Go, Java, or even AppScript, which I think integrates with a lot of Google's technology really nicely. But I'm going to be using Python, and so let's go ahead and do that. The first thing that I'm going to do before running this installation command is open up a terminal, and I'm going to open up Bash terminal because that's my preferred terminal. Great. And we could just install things now, but it's going to install them just, globally, and we don't really want that. So I'm going to create what's called a virtual environment, which will store the packages that we're going to put in. And I'm going to call it AI Studio. No, we'll call it the Gemini demo, the same as our API key. Okay, don't have to. You can just call this whatever. And it's going to think for a little bit as it makes it. We can see up here it's created the .env, and in just a few short seconds it will have made it. I'm going to close this out over here. There we go, perfect. And now I want to activate this. How you activate a virtual environment will depend on the device that you're on, but I activate it like this. This is because I'm on Windows, but I'm using Git Bash. Okay, if you're in PowerShell, it would be different, and if you were on Linux or Mac, it would also be different. So now you can see it's activated. It's got the little name up here, Gemini Demo. And now I'm going to grab that command here, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it in here and run it. And we'll let that run for just a second. In the meantime, let's make a Python file, and we'll call it demo.py. And okay, well, why don't we try this? Make our first request. Let's just use our API key and make our first request. Now notice that if you didn't name your API key Gemini API key, it won't be picked up automatically. Okay, so if you named it Gemini API key, which I did, it will be picked up automatically. Otherwise, you'll have to import OS in Python and then load it from the environment, okay, manually. This is fine, but we're going to do it in a slightly easier way by just keeping the same name. Okay, this is what it expects. And it's installed there all nicely. So I'm going to pop this in here. Now, we haven't actually loaded our API key from the environment at all. So let's do that as well. And I'm going to do it with what's called .env. So we need pip install python-.env, and I'll run that. Great. Okay, that's installed too. And I'm going to add a quick line here which just says from .env import load.env, and then load.env is just a function which someone made nicely, wraps up for us, and we can just run that and it will load all of the API keys or whatever else we have in our environment from this folder. Well, from this file, even not from this folder. And so now if we ran this, we would get a response. So let's give it a go. It's got a default prompt of explain how AI works in a few words. So we'll run this, and I'll run this by typing python demo.py. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a response. Got some more suggestions for our app. Hackathon project submission coach, very good, very good. Someone is, is this a snake head? I can't tell if this is like a good thing or not. Do we love the Hackathon project submission coach? I'm liking it, I'm liking it. Okay, and so we've got some response here. So we've got AI learns patterns from data to make predictions or decisions. Okay, cool. Well, what else should we ask it? Does anyone else have any suggestions on what we should ask it? Maybe we can ask, do we have any questions in the chat? Let's say, well, let's ask it about what is open source Hackfest run by MLH. Okay, and great. I think we can just run this again and hopefully we'll get a nice response to our question. Some things to point out in this code. We're creating a client. This is what grabs the API key and allows us to call a model and generate content from that model. And we specify the model here. It's Gemini 2.5 Flash. And we've got a much longer response this time. And this is great. So let's read it. Open source Hackfest run by MLH, Major League Hacking, is a specialized type of hackathon event primarily focused on encouraging and facilitating contributions to existing open source projects. Wow, quite a mouthful. And then it's got a huge breakdown on what it is, purpose and goals, who is it for. Interesting, interesting. Well, this is all great. This seems relatively accurate. It's not very specific to this weekend, though. Let's have a think about that. Well, maybe we will ask it. Okay, when is open source Hackfest run by Major League Hacking? And now we're just trying out a few prompts here, but you can see how easy it was to grab from the AI Studio our API key. Okay, and there we go. Here, our API key, and we've just popped that into an environment variable, loaded it up, and with the quick start code from the documentation, okay, we've got started straight away. And you could do this in any different language that you liked. Okay. Now, it's responded that MLH Open Source Hackfest isn't a single event with a fixed annual date. It's not quite worked out, because actually we're looking for it to have the most recent date, and it hasn't quite got that. Interesting. Well, curious. Maybe we could try it out here, right? Maybe we can head on back over here. And now at the moment I'm in an image model, Nano Banana. Maybe you've heard of it. It's very good, but we don't really want that to ask questions. So I'm going to swap over to 2.5 Flash. Okay, you can see some more options have popped up here. And let's give this a go. Let's ask this. We'll just copy exactly the same prompt and see what happens. So I'll copy that in and I'll run it. And it's looking a little different so far. For example, it's got a thinking mode, and that's because it's enabled over here. And we could have turned this off, but it's thought a little bit longer. And it said a very similar response. It's given us a website that we can check out. But other than that, it hasn't provided the information that we want. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Well, I wonder if there's something that we can do about this. Actually, I wonder why this is happening. Why can't it work out the dates for the event happening this weekend? And actually, the reason for that is going to be, if we head on over here and take a closer look at our model, you can see here that it's got a knowledge cutoff at January 2025. And this means that it was trained on data up until January 2025. And Despite our expectation that this model would give us the correct date for this weekend, it hasn't done that because it doesn't know it. It can't give me the correct information because it can only use the information and data that it currently has. And this will always be the case with models. They have a cutoff when their training is finished, and then we can use them. And from that point onwards, any new data, they won't know. And so we have to have a think about how we can enable models to access newer information, newer data. Okay? And how can we do that, I hear you asking? Well, we can do something called grounding with Google Search. Now, this is an option over here. And if we enable this, it allows the model to use Google Search. And so we'll give it that option, and we will ask it once more, when is open source Hackfest run by MLH? And maybe we'll say happening this fall in 2025. Which weekend is it? And hopefully this time it will search and work it out for us. And if we wanted to, we could see what its thought process is. We can expand this out. It's re-examining the request this time, and it's clearly conscious of the fact that we've asked this before. Given my previous findings, it's important to reinforce, okay, so this is not quite correct, but hopefully it will Google this and work out correctly. And it thinks there are 3 highly relevant open source events. So it's accurately pulled out that we have Open Source Global Hack Week, which is awesome, the month-long Hacktoberfest in partnership with DigitalOcean. Okay, and excellently, it's come to the correct conclusion that Open Source Hackfest, which we're all attending right now, is happening from today, Friday, October 17th, through to Sunday, October the 19th. And it's got all of this extra information, which is great. Maybe some of you attended the Open Source Week just recently. It finished on Thursday. But it's got all of this information, and it's got all of these sources, and it's found these by referencing them for us. Okay, and we could check some of these out. Maybe we'll head on over to this one, and yeah, we'll accept that. And it's linked us to the MLH website. I actually think probably all of these are just the MLH website. Oh no, there we go. So it's even found, there we go, the My MLH event page, which has all of the details. It's got the mini event schedule and so on. Amazing stuff. Great. Now we have the correct dates. So this is a great tool that we can use. Now, let's say we had a specific website in mind. Maybe the model was getting confused about which website to use. Maybe there's another MLH, and I don't think there is, but maybe there is, and it was getting confused. Maybe we wanted to give it the specific website, or maybe actually let's think more broadly about this weekend. Maybe you're thinking about your project right now and you're thinking, I've got some thoughts, but I don't really know what to do. I'd love to have some suggestions. If only a model could access all of the information on the challenges for us. And well, let's have a look at the prizes. Maybe you want to submit to, maybe you want to submit a sustainability hack. And so let's grab that. And maybe you want to use Streamlit. Okay. So, or actually, yeah, maybe you want to use Google Cloud. Okay. So let's give that a go. We'll head on back over here and we'll say, maybe we'll make a new chat as well. Okay, we can click new chat up here to do so. And now let's put in a request here. So I'm at the Open Source Hackfest run by MLH. Actually, no, we can stay in the same chat, to be honest. It's got all of the context that we need. Let's go back to it. I think it was this one, isn't it? Oh, this is just the model. This is not what I wanted. Let's view all history. There we go. Up here. Apologies. Okay, perfect. And let's say we wanted to produce. I want to make a project for this hackathon using applying to the Best Sustainability Hack sponsored by Iona prize category, and also the best use of Google Cloud. Best use of Google Cloud prize category. And we want to make sure that it works out exactly what these price categories are, so it can give us a really informed answer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off grounding with Google search. I'm going to turn on URL context, and I'm going to say use hack.mlh.io/prizes. Okay, to find out more detail on each of these prize categories and produce tell me a summary of what they are and give me 5 project ideas, 5 short project ideas that fit really well. Okay, excellent. Okay, so now we're giving it a really specific URL, and we've turned on URL context. Let's see how this works. We can see our prompt up here, and the model is thinking yet again. Excellent. Now it might be that best sustainability hack. So it hasn't managed to find them. That's interesting. So let's go and check out the prizes page. It's possible that these are not on the page yet, or maybe they're named something a bit different. No, that's correct. They are not on the page. So let's pick another one that we know is on the page, because we want to check this out. Well, I think MongoDB Atlas is on this page. Yes. So let's copy that in, and maybe we'll just say we want it to be a sustainably themed project. So now we could rerun a new command, but actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and edit this, and I'm going to say I'm going to remove these to the best use of MongoDB Atlas prize category. Maybe I'll pick one more. I think Streamlit is probably on here. Let's have a look. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. We can just go for MongoDB. That's great. And maybe we'll say I'd like it to be themed around lettuce. You know, the some of the Ryans out here. Oh, Ryan in the chat. There's only 4 prizes listed on mine, at least. On the dev post, there should be all of these prizes listed on the dev post. Oh, apologies, hackers. I'm in the wrong dev post. This is from 2023. This suddenly makes a lot more sense. I was thinking, these are not the challenges I thought we had active this weekend. What is going on? Okay, hackers. Apologies. Let's do the correct thing. We'll go to this page, which actually AI Studio linked us to, and we'll head on over to the dev post. I think it's linked up here somewhere. Where is it? Dev post. Great. This is the one. Serves me right for generically searching for open source Hackfest, huh? Okay, so we do indeed have, I think we got 6 prizes, so yeah. My apologies, hackers. I've picked out the wrong page here. So let's pick some from here. So maybe we'll use best use of Gemini API, and where am I? I'm editing this, aren't I? Yes. Okay. Best use of Gemini API price category, and maybe also the maybe we use the maybe use best use of Auth0 and the best use of Auth0. Okay. And we can keep the lettuce theming. I think this is funny. Let's give it a go. Okay, to find out more detail on each of these price categories, yeah, let's give that a go. We'll say rerun this time. Okay, perfect. Apologies, hackers. Hopefully this time we'll get a great response. So it's giving us a summary, best use of Gemini API, and the link that it's provided. Hopefully it will be, yep, it's on the prize page. And you can see actually that the only thing it's referenced is the URL that we gave it. And that's because we provided it URL context, which is when we give it just one link, and we turned off Google search grounding. Otherwise it could have found many other links. And then we've enabled it to find that link and grab information for us. And it's given us some great summaries here. This looks good to me. And it's given us some suggestions. Let us talk health, let us grow smart, lots of puns going on, and combining the Gemini API for analyzing food diaries, Auth0 for managing user accounts. We've got a hydroponics advisor for home hydroponic lettuce growers. That's golden, that's amazing. Brilliant. Okay, so we've used URL context, but maybe you say, well, it's all well and good toggling a button down here, but you just showed us this code, Quinn, and sometimes I want to write things in my local development environment. Once I've got it working here, maybe I've worked out the prompt that I want to have, and I've worked out the settings I want here. How can I transport it across? How can I translate it? Well, actually, we have this button up here, and this simply gets the code for us. Okay, so before we wrap up this example, let's do that. Let's take this code and showcase how easy it is to grab some experimentation that we've done in the Google AI Studio and pull it straight into our development environment. And so I'm going to click Get the Code, and again we can select a different language. We can have some TypeScript, but again I'm going to pick Python. It's my preference here. Okay, amazing. And now that I've copied that to my clipboard, I'm going to head back on over here. And I'm going to delete everything apart from where I loaded in the libraries, and I'll just paste it in here. And we can see it's got some of this stuff in here. I don't think we need this. It's grabbing the API key manually for us. This is okay. We'll pop this up here. Great. And we've already installed Google Gen AI, so we don't need to do that again. Now we've got this generate function, and let's take a closer look at this. So we've got the model that we chose, Gemini 2.5 Flash. And we've got the user prompt here. We can pop something in there. We've got tools, and it's going to be using a URL context tool. Perfect. Again, as we specified, we've given it a thinking budget, which in this case is the maximum thinking budget. So it'll do as much thinking as it needs. And that's all. But let's say we wanted to edit more from the default settings, where we could change the temperature, which, as it says, changes how creative the responses are. If we put it all the way down to 0, it will always put out the same response. If we put it to 1, it will put out a distribution of responses. And if we increased it really high, this distribution will get flatter and it will be more creative, but kind of more random. When the temperature is high, it's more random. Okay, 2 is not that high, but you could set the temperature to be really high. That would be pretty crazy. And we can change lots of other different settings in here as well. If we head on down to advanced settings, we can change probability thresholds. If you've been to any of my streams, we've spoken about many of these settings in different contexts too. So this has made our life super easy. We can change exactly how we want the model to behave and which tools it can call just by generating the code for us. And let's give this a go. Maybe we'll put in a prompt here, and we need to give it a URL. So maybe we'll just ask it to summarize all the prizes at hack.mlh.io/prizes. And I've saved that file, and I'm going to head on down here and just rerun it. Interesting. We have an error. Very curious. Types.content. Types is not defined. I know what I've done. So don't do what I do. Do not do what I do. Let's grab the code again and copy it. And I'm just going to paste it up here. Put in a little line. We're going to keep all the code down below. This code is all fine. Let's copy it in and see if we can work out what Quinn did wrong. Now Quinn deleted all of these, and if you notice carefully, actually from Google import Gen AI we have already, yes, and we kept these, so we can delete those, but we didn't keep this, and we need this. This is important. So we'll throw it down here. And this is allowing us to specify the type of content that we're putting into our model, okay? And now we've got a copy of our function and this, which we don't want, so we'll delete that out. Great. And now this will work. This is a lesson learned. Be sure to check that you're installing and importing the correct libraries and packages that you need. So we rerun this, and this time it will work. I say with a lot of confidence. There we go. So MLH offers various prizes for different challenges and API uses at hack.mlh.io/prizes. These include best use of Gemini API, best use of Gemini 2.5 compute use. So we don't have all of these active at open source Hackfest, but you can see some of them that we do. We have best use of Gemini API, for example. We have the best use of Auth0, for example. Okay, Arduino kit, awesome. It's told us what the price is going to be. We also have, I think, the best use of DigitalOcean Gradient AI active. We can double check that on the dev post, which I now have correct. There we go, yes. And this is really awesome. So I'm super excited about this. We've managed to take code from the AI Studio that we've managed to experiment with and iterate through really fast to get our settings that we want, and then put it into our development environment super easily. So that's amazing and exciting, and I hope you found that cool too. Now let's say we want to build a little bit more than just, some model settings and a prompt setup. Well, actually we have an option right for that. And I see some questions in the chat. Maybe now is a good time to pause. I'm going to take a sip of my water. Is anyone able to get free credits for the DigitalOcean Gradient AI? Maybe this is something I can help you out with in the Discord later. If you sign up using our link, you can get the credits directly. So I would recommend checking out mlh.link/DigitalOcean sign up. Okay, but let me know in Discord if you're having an issue with this, and I'll help you out. Okay. Hi, welcome. In that case, please open a support ticket in the Discord, and I'll help you out immediately after this. Okay. Right, we're going to finish this workshop off with a bang because we're going to be looking at another tool in the Google AI Studio toolkit, and this is one of the most exciting ones to me, at least. I love this. So we can just create the foundations for an app with Gemini in the AI Studio. And this is really where the experimentation and the speed of experimentation becomes amazing. This made my jaw drop when I looked at this the first time. So let's build an app. I think we had some suggestions. Let's build a hackathon project submission coach. Great idea from Professor New York City. So build me a hackathon project submission coach. And maybe we'll say use Python primarily, because this makes me happier. And I think we'll just give that a run. And let me just check if we have any questions before we get going. Nope, we're great. Okay, let's give that a run and see what we get. So straight away we jump into this thinking mode. We can see in really nice visuals what the model is doing. So at the moment, developing structure, then constructing an interface, and we've got some more detailed prompts down here. And if you had a more complicated design, perhaps it would think longer on each of these, but we can see the summaries up ahead. So implementing the foundation, developing the application. I saw some reference to HTML there. Constructing the architecture, UI design, thinking about app components, and now finalizing prototype. And so we can see all of our files populating here as it writes them out. You can see it thought for 33 seconds, and we can read through this in our own time if we wish. Let's see. Yep. So here, key types have been defined: initial HTML, React, components, etc. I'm not sure it's done a great job at using Python-friendly tools. I was hoping it would use Flask, but if we wanted to, we could tell it more specifically, use Flask, and maybe we will in a minute. I think we're running up to time, so maybe we won't have time for that, but this is an option for you to try. You can ask it to refactor some of your code into a different framework or language and see what it does. It's producing or grabbing some icons here for us, and now it's giving us a preview. And we can see Hackathon Submission Coach, your AI partner for crafting a winning project submission. So we didn't give it barely any instruction. Super simple prompt. And if you wanted to, you could give it a lot more detail than this. But we can throw in our idea here, and it gives us some feedback by the looks of things, which is super exciting. Let's take a look at the code. So yep, we've got some HTML defining some of the setup on the front end. We've got our app. Look at this. Amazing. And you can see how quickly this was produced, right? This has built a wonderful foundation. Now, this is not going to be a fully working, functioning project. And I bet if we test this, we'll be able to find some problems with it. So if we asked, I want to make a lettuce digital supermarket app, maybe we'll see if it breaks and then we can do some fixing. But maybe, you know, this is okay, but you want the colors to be changed or whatnot. There's so many things you can change. I think actually just looking at it here, we've got some weird visual bug with these icons here and some like gray lines, and maybe you can see that. And actually, we can see some problems already down here. So this is not going to do your whole project for you by any means. But this is, like I said, a great tool for experimentation, building the foundations for your project, and then iterating from. And we can see it's giving us some motivation, future hackathon champion. But for a panel of judges, so it's giving us some good tips. The markdown, however, is not formatting correctly. And this is maybe something that we'd want it to do. Okay, and it's got loads of other different options and bits and pieces going on here. Absolutely lovely, but there's definitely stuff to work on. And we can do so by iterating through here. Maybe we could say, maybe we actually want this to be green. Can you make it a green eco-themed style for the app? And we'll give that a run. Excellent. Okay, we're going to wrap up in just a couple of minutes. So if you have questions, pop them in the chat now while we're waiting for this to load. But this is an amazing tool. Maybe you're, thinking, oh, I need a breather, but I don't want to stop working. I don't want to stop experimenting. Well, you can let Gemini do some of that experimentation for you through the Google AI Studio, and you can take that breather, let your brain refresh, and then think really at a high level about how you're going to manage your projects and the direction that you want to take. This, in my view, as with many AI tools, allows you to free up some of the lower level mess and implementation, and actually focus on the things which you really want to focus on. Focus on that decision making and creating a really amazing direction and crafting a strategy for your project. So this is awesome, and I love to see these things working in practice. And maybe you produced your own basic outline of a project, but actually you wanted to change the color scheme and whatnot, or refactor it into a different language. There's many things that you might want to do. This is maybe a tool for you. And so it's suggested that it's updated the color palette using a range of different colors, organic and focused feel. And so we can check out where it's made the changes here if we wished. We could view the difference, and you can scroll through all of these different bits and pieces as you'd like to. So we can see the files that it hasn't modified and the files that it has. You can see it's changed some things in the app. Actually here, there we go, it's changed the colors from gray to green. Great, and so we're going to click cancel. We could restore it to the previous version, and you can see we've got checkpointing all along here where we can restore from as well. Let's check this out. So this is very aggressively green, but you can see the idea here, right? And we can also ask this to generate images, videos for us as well. So there are plenty of different bits and pieces to play with. But some points that I really want to highlight are, actually, this is super easy to take and then build off yourself, okay? Maybe you're saying, well, it's all well and good having all this code here, but how do I get it from here to VS Code? Well, you can actually save this to your GitHub. And we've got a little button up here, which just simply says save to GitHub. Okay, we'll click this, and we'll click save, so it saves all of the changes. And now it's going to want us to sign into GitHub. This isn't a problem. I'm going to sign in with my account, allow it to use my passkey. This is my password manager doing all of the magic for me. Great, and I'll scroll down, and it's got all of the access. Sometimes this won't happen to you. I've already authenticated before, and so this is great. Sometimes I have some issues with this, but there we go. It does have all of the permissions it needs. Interestingly, it's not it's not signing me in. It could be something to do with my account, I think, because I've had this work for me recently as well. In fact, just before this workshop, I had this working really well. So let's see. Maybe I'll uninstall this. Okay, and then sign in again, and it should reinstall. Okay, this is what you should get when you log in. Hopefully this will work now this time. So it will ask us if we can install and authorize the Google AI Studio on my personal account, which I'm going to let it do. I'm going to allow it to access all of my repositories, and this is giving it permission to read and write. And I think you can see where this is going. It's going to save this project. There we go. This is much better. To my GitHub. And so maybe I'll save this hackathon coach demo app. And description, a simple demo built with Google AI Studio to demonstrate the power of experimenting. Quickly. Great, and I'll keep this private, and I'll create the repository, and it will sync. So we've got some thoughts in the chat. If you don't mind training on data, you can try the approach shared as a zero shot when ready, including an example and some links with the API key so you don't burn tokens. Yeah, these are some great suggestions on how you can save yourself some tokens too, of course. And I'm glad that you've enjoyed the walkthrough and that the pace has been good for you too. Always happy to have feedback, so please do let me know what you'd like to see more of as well. Okay, great. So we can see that it's asking to stage and commit all of the changes, and I'm allowed to do that. And it's going to sync the changes up to my GitHub, and seems to have done it. So if we click onto this, we can see the project right here, right now. It's got 2 commits, and this is the initial commit when we created it, and perfect. Okay, look at that, and it's got some instructions on how to deploy it nice and easily as well. Ooh, that's interesting. How we can deploy it so quickly. Well, actually, you can also do that directly from the AI Studio. If you go up to this button here and you click Deploy App, you're able to do that. And you can do that through a bunch of different options. You'd have to set up billing to do this, which I'm not going to do right now. But if you wanted to, you can, and you can sync it up with all sorts of other things like Google Cloud Platform and many other options. So I hope this has been super exciting for you. I would love to see you all using this. Tell me your experience of it. I'd love to see some messages in the Discord, sharing how you're finding it. Maybe show us some apps which you've built some prototypes for. This is, like I said, a great project to experiment with, or rather, it's a great tool to experiment on your project with. Get that the other way around. And if you are maybe thinking through a few ideas and want to visualize them, just have a bit of a play around with them, this is a super fast way of doing that. So I really do recommend trying this out if you haven't been following along already, which I hope you have. You can find this at mlh.link/AI Studio, which is still scrolling along the bottom of the screen down here. And of course, if you have any questions right now, you can pop them in the chat. I'm going to hang around for 2 more minutes. Otherwise, throw them in the Discord and I will happily help you out. But with that, thank you very much for watching and happy hacking. All right, so any questions, throw them in the chat. I'll take a hydration break otherwise. And yeah, let me know if you've got any thoughts. I think it's fairly quiet, so maybe I'll wait another 30 seconds and then we can close up. While I'm waiting, I'm going to head back on over to these slides and suggest that if you haven't already, please do check in. This gets you instructions for this workshop demo, so you can do it in your own time if you haven't managed to do it now. And of course, you get entered into our raffle, which is super exciting. So scan the QR code or head along to this link on the screen. All right. I'm glad that you enjoyed the demo. I'm super happy about that. I've really enjoyed running this demo. I think building with the AI Studio provided by Google is actually a pleasure. I love the interface. I love how simple it is to just change all of the settings that you need to and really work through things quickly. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it very much. And I hope you all love to use it in your hacking in the future. Okay, with that, what is the raffle? Question. The raffle is going to be entering you for some swag. I believe it's some Google branded swag, but I'm not 100% sure. I think this is a little in flux, so I don't want to overpromise. But I believe it's some Google branded, really awesome swag, and it's more than just a sticker. I think it's something along the lines of a bag, similar. So the chance to win that in this raffle, I would definitely be checking in if I wasn't running the workshop. I can tell you that. Yeah. Yep, there we go. Someone is randomly picked to win the swag. Exactly. I think taking you out of the list won't improve your luck, let's say. But no, definitely check in. And you never know. You might be the lucky one this time. All right, thank you all for coming. And with that, I will leave it there. Happy hacking, everyone, and I will catch you all later. Bye-bye for now.